If you're pouring this oil into your engine, you are slowly killing your car. And I'm not talking about some generic oil brand that you've never heard of. No, I'm talking about the oil that's probably sitting on the shelf of your nearest gas station or wherever you get it right now. From simple inconveniences to costing you thousands of dollars, these mistakes are silently destroying engines across the country. And trust me, your mechanic isn't gonna warn you about this because they make money when your engine fails. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you will know exactly which oils to avoid and how to choose the right oil that could literally add years to your engine's life. So smash that like and subscribe button and let's dive right in. Well, before we actually dive right into all the mistakes that are costing drivers thousands, let me ask you something. What is the most important fluid in your car? Now, if you said gasoline, you're dead wrong. Quite literally, engine oil is your car's bloodstream. Just like how blood carries oxygen and nutrients to your organs, oil carries life to every moving part in your engine. But here's what most people don't realize. Oil doesn't just make things slippery. Your oil keeps your engine alive in ways that people never really think about. It lubricates thousands of metal parts that are moving at incredible speeds, and without proper lubrication, these parts would literally weld themselves together within seconds. But oil does way more than just lubricate. It's also your engine's cooling system for the hottest parts that your radiator can't reach. When oil breaks down from poor quality, it can't carry heat away anymore, and your engine starts cooking itself from the inside. And as if that's not enough, it's also your engine's cleaning crew. Good oil contains special detergents that grab all the nasty stuff like carbon deposits, metal particles, and combustion crud and keep them until you change your oil. Cheap oil can't do this job, so all that garbage just stays in your engine and turns into expensive scrap metal. And finally, oil helps seal your engine. It fills in the tiny gaps between your piston rings and cylinder walls, keeping compression high and preventing your engine from losing power. Think of it this way. If your engine is a marathon runner, oil is its blood, energy drink, and recovery supplement all rolled up into one. Feed a marathon runner junk food and watch their performance collapse. That's exactly what happens when you use the wrong oil in your engine. But here's where it gets scary. Most drivers are unknowingly sabotaging their engines with simple mistakes that seem harmless. In fact, that premium oil might just be killing your car. Have you ever noticed that when you walk into any auto parts store, you'll see oils with confusing numbers like OW20, 5W30, and 10W40? Now, most people think these are just marketing numbers, but they're actually your engine's survival code. Get them wrong and, well, you're cooked. You see, the thing about oil is your engine was designed for a specific thickness, and using the wrong one is like trying to drink a milkshake through a coffee stirrer. But in order to make sure you aren't playing chemist, those numbers on the can tell you how thick the oil is when it's cold and when it's hot. For example, you see guys putting thick oil in their modern Honda because they think thicker means better protection. Wrong. That Honda needs thin oil so it can flow quickly to protect the engine during cold starts. Use thick oil and for the first 30 seconds after startup, your engine's going to be running practically dry while the oil slowly makes its way through the system. On the flip side, putting thin oil in an older truck designed for thick oil means that your oil pressure drops and worn seals start leaking. It's like putting water in a system designed for honey. Now, here's something that'll shock you. Not all bottles labeled motor oil actually contain real motor oil. Some cheap brands are basically recycled industrial oil with fresh stickers. Real motor oil has to pass brutal tests to earn certifications from organizations that actually matter. That $2 oil with no certifications, it's a $3,000 engine repair waiting to happen. But perhaps even worse than that cheap oil, the oil change interval mistakes are probably the most expensive mistake that people make. See, modern engines create way more heat and stress than old engines ever did, and when you push oil past its limits, it literally turns into sludge inside your engine. I'm talking about black tar-like goo that blocks oil passages and starves your engine of lubrication. And the scary part is that once sludge forms, no amount of flushing will save you. People also think they can mix different types of oil without any consequences. Well, I got bad news, because synthetic and regular oil use completely different chemical packages, and when you mix them randomly, these chemicals can actually fight each other and create harmful compounds in your engine. It's like mixing medications. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it creates a dangerous reaction. But by far the biggest mistake you might be making is the one-size-fits-all mentality. For some reason, people think that any oil that meets their thickness requirement will work fine. Well, tell that to the guy who had to tow his BMW to the shop last week. Look, I know it sounds like it should make sense, but your modern turbocharged engine has completely different needs than a 20-year-old truck. Modern engines run hotter, have tighter tolerances, and need oil that can handle way more abuse. Using old-school oil in a modern engine is like feeding a racehorse hay when it needs rocket fuel. And let me tell you what really happens when you use the wrong oil, because boy have I seen all this firsthand, and it's not pretty. Engine sludge is probably the most horrifying thing you can ever find when you open up an engine. Imagine thick black peanut butter coating every surface inside your engine. That's what happens when oil breaks down and turns solid. And the thing is, once sludge forms, it blocks the tiny passages that carry oil to critical parts, basically starving your engine to death. And this isn't even a friendly story, because there are countless stories out there about BMWs with only 60,000 miles where the owner used cheap oil and skipped changes. The results are always the same, an engine so clogged with sludge that oil couldn't reach the timing system. And the repair bill? We're talking about thousands of dollars. The crazy part is using good synthetic oil would have cost maybe $200 more over the entire life of that car. But let's say you're lucky and you don't get the sludge of death. Your engine bearings are thin metal shells that support the spinning crankshaft. Now, they're designed to work with specific oil pressure and thickness. Use the wrong oil, and those bearings literally start melting. The sound of bearing failure is something that you will never forget. All you're gonna hear is a deep knocking noise that means that your engine is eating itself alive. And as we all know, when you start hearing knocks, you might need a complete engine rebuild or replacement. If you drive a turbocharged car, then you have a lot more at stake. Turbos spin at speeds that would make a NASCAR engine jealous. We're talking about 200,000 RPM. The oil that keeps your turbo alive can reach temperatures over 400 degrees. Yeah, cheap oil can't handle this kind of abuse. It breaks down, forms carbon deposits, and literally cooks inside the turbo bearings. And before you know it, boom! The turbo is completely destroyed at 30,000 miles because of poor oil choice. And the replacement cost is about $3,000 to $5,000. And that's if it doesn't damage your entire engine when it fails. And if all that doesn't worry you, using the wrong oil can actually void your warranty. Your oil change receipts are evidence of maintenance, and if you can't prove that you used a manufacturer-specified oil, they can actually deny your entire claim. So why save a few bucks only to lose your entire warranty? Oh, and as an added bonus, when oil breaks down from the heat, it stops doing its cooling job. This creates a deadly cycle where overheating causes more oil breakdown, which causes more overheating. And well, the end result is warped cylinder heads, blown head gaskets, and complete engine seizure. Your car basically becomes a very expensive paperweight. But enough doom and gloom. Let's talk about how to actually protect your engine. The good news is that choosing the right oil isn't rocket science if you follow some simple rules. Everything you need to know is sitting in that book in your glove box that you've probably never opened. Your car manufacturer spent millions of dollars testing different oils in your specific engine. They know exactly what works and what doesn't. So look for the exact thickness rating that your engine needs and pay attention to any special certifications that they might require. Some manufacturers have their own oil standards that go beyond the basic requirements. GM, for example, has something called Dexos. Ford has their own specifications, and European cars often need oils that meet very specific standards. Don't ignore these requirements. They exist for good reasons. But beside that, never buy oil that doesn't have proper certifications. Look for API certification, which shows the oil has survived brutal testing. Most modern cars also need ILSAC certification, and if you drive a European car, you'll want ACEA ratings. I know, it sucks, but these aren't marketing tricks. They're proof that the oil actually works. But let's move on. If your car was made after 2010, especially if it has a turbocharger, direct injection, or variable valve timing, then you need full synthetic oil. Period. Synthetic oil flows better when cold, resists breakdown at high temperatures, and contains way better additives than conventional oil. Yes, it costs a bit more upfront, but it's actually going to be saving you money through longer change intervals and preventing expensive repairs. Stick with brands that have reputations to protect. Companies like Mobil 1, Castrol, Valvoline, and Shell invest billions in research and testing. Some store brands like Costco's Kirkland Oil are actually made by these major companies and offer great value, but avoid the bargain basement brands with no track record. And here's a pro tip. You also need to match your oil choice to how you actually drive. If you do mostly city driving with lots of short trips, your oil works much harder than it would if you were driving on the highway. Extreme temperatures, whether hot or cold, also stress your oil more. Plus, high mileage cars need special formulations that help prevent leaks and reduce oil consumption. Here's how I want you to think about this whole thing. Oil is the cheapest insurance policy that you can buy for your car. A $50 bottle of synthetic oil might seem expensive compared to a $25 conventional change, but think about the alternatives. Engine replacement costs $5,000 to $15,000. Turbo replacements run $3,000 to $5,000. Major engine repairs can cost anywhere from $2,000 to $8,000. And suddenly that expensive synthetic oil looks like the bargain of the century. The bottom line is your engine oil isn't just another fluid you pour into your car. It's life support for the most expensive mechanical part of your vehicle. Every time you choose the wrong oil, you're gambling with thousands of dollars. But now you know better. You know to check your owner's manual, look for proper certifications, choose the right thickness, and invest in quality oil that matches how you actually drive your car. So here's your homework for today. Go check your oil. When was it last changed? What type is currently in your engine? Does it match what your owner's manual says you should be using? You need to be knowing all these things. And when you find out, comment down below and tell me what oil you're currently using and what car you're putting it in. Let's see if you're on the right track, and we'll personally respond to help you make sure that you're protecting your engine properly. And if this video saved you from making a costly mistake, be sure to hit that like button. It helps other drivers find this information before they destroy their engines. And if you want more automotive content that could save you thousands in repair bills, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Remember, oil is the cheapest insurance you can buy for your engine. Don't gamble with your car's life just to save a few dollars. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!